This is Colombia Papacito. You know, I'm here. I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to do my thing. Today we're gonna talk about life lessons, right? We're gonna break away from sports a little bit, talk about life lessons. Um, yeah, I think one of the hardest things about being an adult is letting go of your childhood trauma where you did a lot of things to make it by and escape the feeling of disappointment and things of that nature with your parents. So a lot of times, like when I grew up, right, I would make sure that if I did something wrong, I would try to satisfy my parents in a different way, just to kind of hide the fact I already did something wrong. um but instead of just like owning up to it, or instead of just not making the wrong decision, I would just try to do something else that would make up for it, without it even being um happening. So I mean, that was a lot of things. That was a lot of times when I was a child. I literally did not develop in the way that I should when I was a child. No fault to my parents; they did the best they could. I just didn't develop in certain aspects. And one of those aspects is decision making. um a lot of times I, as a child, would make quick fast decisions and without worry or anything like that. But then over time, those decisions cause me a lot of pain, whether I get like a an ass whooping, or I get punishment, take my phone away, or things of that nature. So what I stopped doing when I was young, as I got older, I started really thinking about decisions before I made it. You know what I mean? I would really try to process it, and but I'm still processing it from a child's mindset. So, as a child, when anytime you process something, you're gonna process it through your parents' viewpoint, and you're gonna make a informed decision based off of what you think they would say or something like that. That's why typically we before we make decisions, we typically ask our parents, or we ask the people who raised us, because essentially that's our way of thinking, is the people that raised us. But I say to say this, it, it doesn't, when you have to think about it too long, you know what I'm saying? What the thing I didn't develop is the way to really prioritize my decisions. So a lot of times I will make decisions that were irrational, that didn't make any sense, or I would do something that I know I shouldn't have done, but because I made the decision, I didn't process it the right way. I felt bad immediately afterwards. So learning to prioritize, like I'll admit, like last night, I kind of I messed up. Actually, I messed up yesterday. So, and I'm own up to it, you know. So as you guys know, I have a fiance in Colombia, and pretty much, with women, they're big on communication. They're big on just talking and things of that nature. Um, but yesterday, I decided to be an asshole and put myself in a situation you know that could lead to certain assumptions, basically. So what I did, me and my friends, we went out. Um, we had drinks, but we didn't just have drinks. Like we partied hard, party like a rock star. You know what I mean? And I mean, you guys are not really familiar with me yet, but I party pretty hard, and I probably shouldn't. I probably shouldn't party pretty hard as I do, but I had way too many drinks yesterday. And remember, I'm already made the decision without processing it the right way. Without really processing it. Um, I already made the decision to drink a lot of liquor, which is already gonna fuck up your head anyway when it comes to decision making. So, what did I end up doing was pretty much. partying, going crazy last night. Um, Went to like two or three different spots, and then I at this point I'm like maybe 10 to 13 shots in, like legit 10 to 13 shots in, maybe two beers on top of that. So every decision I make is irrational and it doesn't make sense and it doesn't align with who I really am and what are my goals for the and plans for the future. So, and one of my goals and my plans for the future is to be, you know, married with my fiance. But, what ended up happening is I did not communicate at all. I shut off. I put my phone in my pocket and I completely forgot about it because I'm the man. I'm literally like partying, doing my own thing, and legit just turning up, having a good ass time. But all I need to do was communicate. I was having a good time, but I didn't do that. So, that led to obviously my fiance being upset. So that's just one example of like, when you're an adult and you have to make certain decisions, you have to understand, you have to process in a way and realize how that decision affects others. Um, so yesterday I made irrational decisions. Got too drunk, got too effed up to the point where I'm still effed up right now. Um, but what ended up happening was I ended up putting myself in a position to where I was not responsive. I was not communicating, talking. I was just having a good time. I was directing. I was telling people what to do. I'm, doing my own thing, having a good time and having fun. And, you know, but was it really fun? Was it really worth it? No, it wasn't. Not at all. Wasn't worth it at all. But, that's probably one of the hardest things to do as an adult is just like make those decisions that, not only affects you, but affects other people. So, I think it stems from childhood because, you don't want to, one, you don't want to make the wrong decision. And then two, you don't want to hurt anybody with your decisions. So I did both. So, you know, what I decided to do, like from now on, is put down alcohol. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting it down. Putting it down. Tuesday playbook, Columbia Papacito is putting down alcohol for the remainder of my time here in Virginia. Yeah, I'm putting out alcohol, man. The only time you guys will see me drinking alcohol is when I am either with my fiance or with my father, because some of the decisions I make, it affects those people, and it's not like it's not necessarily, I didn't necessarily, it wasn't worth it. Basically, some of the decisions that I made is not worth it. So I'm Columbia Papacito is putting down alcohol for the remainder of my time here, man, and essentially, I had to come on here and just say it, like I had to come on here and just share this lesson with you guys because a lot of times, man, we do things and we don't realize we're doing it until after. And now we're dealing with the after effects. And to deal with the after effects takes too much time, too much pain, too much unwinding, too much things to, talk through and work through. So eliminate the source of the problem is what I'm doing right now. So right now I made the decision, right? So how this decision affects others? It affects others in a great way because I will always be of a sober mind. And if I'm not of a sober mind, I will be around the person that I care about. You know what I mean? So yeah, sometimes you got to do those things. Sometimes you got to make those type of decisions just to make sure that you're okay in life. And there's a lot of other decisions I made in the past too, like money, receiving money and not knowing what to do with it. So there was one time where I received like a large lump sum of money from a sale, and legit, I did not know what to do with it. What I should have done with it, I should have flipped it. I should have turned that X amount of dollars into 100 grand. I'll just say that. I should have, in some sort of way, used that amount of money, which is a lot of money, and turned it into 100 grand. But I had no way of going about doing it. You know what I mean? And then I never really asked the question either. I just kind of like did some research online, did some YouTube, and I decided to just play with it in stocks. And what ended up happening was, man, I effed up. I literally started going through court stuff, custody battles, and things of that nature. Had to pay for lawyers, had to pay for child support, had to pay for like all these different things, which pretty much completely wiped out my money in the past 2 years. Pretty much cleaned it out. You know what I mean? So what I learned from that was, it takes money to make money, but you have to put money inside of somewhere that makes sense. I didn't necessarily what I should have done was create passive income off rip to the point where I'm literally making money and I'm flipping this money. But what I did was I put it in freaking dividend stocks, and then the economy went to crap over the past 3 years. Like, it really got bad. It really got bad. And not only did the economy really got bad, but I had to pay for lawyers and all this kind of stuff like that. So not only could I not afford to eat sometimes, but I had to take money out of that just to help feed myself. You know what I mean? So um, I think in that scenario, what I should have done, as far as like making a decision, I should have literally who's received reach out to someone or a mentor and talk to them about it. Be like, hey man, look, I got this large lump sum of money. This is my plan is to make this amount of money turn to $100,000. However long that takes, it doesn't matter. All I want to do is ensure that this money is utilized to build more financial wealth for me and my family. So, you know, that's what I should have done, but didn't do that. Didn't even think about doing that. And that decision right there, when you look at it, it affects other people because I could have had enough money to do whatever I needed to do to take care of the people I needed to take care of, or I could have um, used that money to start buying properties in Colombia, like I'm already gonna do. I could have used that money for something that's legitimate. Instead, I squandered it away um, with alcohol, um, women, just taking them out on dates and doing dumb stuff, ever since like 2023, late 2023 and all that. Yeah, I was doing all the just dumb things, man, not making any sense about what I was doing with that money. So, and then I was playing with it in stocks, not knowing what I'm doing either. So you gotta look at it long term, right? If I would have just used that money the correct way or held on to it in a different way to where I couldn't touch it and made it to where like okay, like and once I have the opportunity, I can use the money for something. That's what I should have done. I should have put it away. So once I had the opportunity to use it, which, a great idea of like buying a property in Medellin or Cartagena or somewhere in Colombia, that would have been a perfect opportunity. But I was never thinking about it at the time. The only thing I was thinking about was being newly divorced, depressed, um, kind of like getting over that losing your family type thing, because that sucks. As a man, like you worked so hard to build something, you built like a structured foundation for your family, and you lose it. Shit sucks, man. It's like, everything gets ripped up under you when you could have just, kept it going, kept it peaceful, kept the shit moving forward. But it was necessary. So what happened was necessary, and I'm no longer married. But at the same time, um, you know, those things that happened in the past, me getting, me getting married and me getting divorced, affected my future decision making. So we got to recognize as adults that, man, sometimes like things happen in life and we don't have all the answers. So when we receive the opportunity to correct it, correct your own life, use that opportunity wisely, or you use the money wisely. Um, don't use it with emotion. Don't use it with lust, or don't use it with things that like alcohol. Because if you do, you just end up putting yourself in a bad position. But yeah, man. Yeah, so shout out to all my friends, man. Shout out to you guys. I knew you guys were trying to make me let me have a good time because I had a rough week. Things are happening in my life right now and at work, and it's like, sometimes sometimes these things that are happening are really affecting me on a certain level to where I need that outreach. I need to hang out. I need that companionship with someone else. So because those things happen, I made irrash decisions by drinking alcohol, knowing that my mind was not right. I could not. I should have not touched alcohol this weekend, man, because I had a rough week. I had probably one of the rough past 2 weeks of my life, and I should have just, um, recorded. I should just record. But hey, who knows? Maybe this episode, maybe everything happened for a reason, and I was able to produce this episode to help someone else. So that's why I'm, here talking about it. But yeah, man. Um, as adults, man, we gotta realize that, man, the things that we do affects other people, and it's everything. Whether it affects your future, whether it affects your past, or it affects the people around you here and right now. But the things that we do affects other people, and so when we process decisions, we have to think about that. How does this affect the other person? Um, and a lot of times I do get caught up in that too. I do get caught up in helping other people before helping myself. You know what I mean? So I know we have those time. I know we have those people in our life that we would do anything for, but sometimes we have to prioritize our own life before we even try to assist someone else with their own life. Just like how they say, if you're in a plane and then you receive a lot of turbulence, make sure you put the mask over your face first before, so the breathing mask, and they lose air pressure. Make sure you put the breathing mask over your face first before you help out the person next to you. You know what I mean? So we gotta, ensure that we do those type of things in life as well. Um, Before we start helping other people, man, we gotta help ourselves. We gotta be in the best shape. We gotta be in the best. We gotta forge the best opportunity for ourselves before we start, you know, looking at someone else. But yeah, man, just wanted to come on and say that, man. It's Too Easy Playbook. I give you guys a playbook on life. Hopefully, this video helps somebody, um, because it really affected me. These things that happened that I spoke about, these things really affected me, and I wish that I would have about it differently. So, life lessons, man, life lessons. So, let's talk about another life lesson, man. Accountability. So, former Vice President Kamala Harris, she pretty much comes out with this book. And this book is about her losing the election and the reasons why she lost the election. And it doesn't speak to like a way forward. It only speaks to, this is what happened, this is how wrong they did me. And I feel you. Maybe maybe you felt like you got wronged in this scenario. She mentioned how former President Joe Biden didn't you know declare that he didn't declare that he was out of the race until like last minute, and then there's this significant push for her all of a sudden, and then she was late to campaigning, and just all these things there that were factors that led to her ultimately losing the election. But I think one of the biggest things has to be the fact that some of these interviews where they were interviewing her, and she just really didn't answer the question. It's like she danced around the question, and she made it seem like she was for the people, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what people she was for, but she made it. She was trying to make it seem like she was for the people, and when it came to like some basic questions, is she couldn't really answer it, and I think that's why people didn't vote for her. Honestly, I'm just like, if we're gonna have a president, they got to be competent enough to have really good conversations. They have to be competent enough to answer the questions that are asked of them. Regardless of how embarrassing they are, or regardless of what type of questions are asked to them. You know, you can't walk into every interview unprepared. You know what I mean? So I think that's what happened, man. But in her book, she kind of just talks about all these things that were happening, the way that people made her seem and stuff like that. But I'm just like, yo, just take accountability. I mean, that's a life lesson. Like, take accountability for your own life, man. Everything that I said earlier, right? I said was my fault. Didn't say it was someone else's fault. Didn't blame anyone. Didn't try to do the whole dance around what really happened. No, I just straight up told her, like, hey, I did it. My fault. You know what I mean? But in these type of scenarios, we need to understand that accountability is the only way you can own life. You know what I mean? You have to own your own life. You can't let other people dictate, okay, this happened to you because of such and such, such and such, and this is your going to be a result from it. We can't keep allowing and keep making people allowing people to do that. We got to take accountability for our own life, so that way we can manage it, because we're the managers of our own life. Every decision, everything that happens, even the situation that I'm in, every single thing that has happened in my entirety of my life was because of decisions that I made. You know what I mean? So you can't tell me that you were wronged in such a way. That's why you lost the election. No, no. Come on now. Take accountability, man. You did. We just didn't. America just decided to not vote for you. It wasn't feminism. I mean, it wasn't sexism. It wasn't none of that stuff. It was just, hey, man, we're not going to vote for you because we feel like the president now, President Donald Trump, is the better candidate. Which is simply what happened, man. That's simply what happened. Um, yeah, man. So like life lessons, man. Learn. So like I said, first one, decision making. Learn to process decisions in a way and realize, okay, this decision affects other people in this way. Life lesson number two: learn to do with money. Learn to do what you need to do with money. You know what I mean? Learn how money works. Understand that every decision you make, whether you go out to the club or you go do this, you go out and do that, every decision that you make affects other people. And we need to understand that. And then accountability, man. Anything that happens in your life, be ultimately responsible for it. And I know messed up things happen. I know people, you know, think things happen to me that are messed up, that I couldn't control. But at the end of the day, you control your story after that. After that messed up, you control how you react to it. Build a little bit of resiliency. You know what I mean? Let's be resilient, and let's take accountability so we can change and we can grow and we can become better. Yeah, so this is Too Easy Playbook. I'm hoping that I was able to reach a certain audience, reach certain people that need to hear what I just had to say. Um, right now, I had to do it as soon as possible because I am speaking from emotion. So, hopefully you can feel my passion and realize that, I'm not just speaking about things that I don't know. I'm speaking about experiences. Accountability is a huge one. And, these three lessons, I hope these three lessons are able to help someone um, in the near future. But that's it. This is Too Easy Playbook. CP, I'm out. Y'all know where to find me. YouTube, Twitch. Keep supporting, keep loving, keep liking, and I appreciate it, guys.